Eratosthenes crater is a relatively deep lunar impact crater that lies on the boundaries between Mare Imbrium and the Sinus Istoum Mare regions. It forms the western terminus of the Montes Apenninus Mountain Range. The crater has a well-defined circular rim, terraced inner wall, central mountain peaks, they're not mountains, an irregular floor, a city, and an outer rampart of ejecta, other cities. At the end of these beautiful mountains, Montes Apenninus Mountains, this is the mountain range, we have Eratosthenes crater, also known as the Greek astronomer who measured the circumference of Earth and the Sun. Here's a close look at Eratosthenes crater at the end of the mountain range. But inside of Montes Apenninus mountain range, there are structures, geometrical shapes inside of the dark regions. Whether they be holes or shadows, there are objects that are geometrical that are there. Green surface, again, of course, which the moon is very famous for. But the structure since last seen on Wikipedia, I find it's quite changed. And the pyramid shape point that I was finding, I have defined the center now, that we're seeing an actual square structure or platform, and we'll go see really close around Eratosthenes crater. In the blue, there are blue structures, either that glass structuring or crystal structuring, like a Crazy Penguin mentioned, could be crystallized. Yeah, it definitely looks like some kind of crystal or glass. They're blue, and whether it be the smoke or haze that's over them. Now, what we're seeing on the surface here is a very prominent haze. And look at the left there, top left of the lens. Those little specks that you're seeing, those teeth marks, are objects that are on the surface. Here again, pipes, tunnels, massive installations that are all around Eratosthenes crater at the end of Montes Apenninus mountain range. Here again, under the haze, are other structures that I will be working hard to clarify. By using this light technique, once again, seeing the platforms that the actual structures are constructed atop. Here are the teeth marks. Now, guys, understand, for those who are claiming and wasting all these hard-working pages and channels times by telling us these are pixels, you do know that a pixel is one layer on the top of the photo. It doesn't have different layers and sizes and angles. It's flat. These are not flat pixels. So you're about to see an X-ray photo of the surface. All the colors and different levels and objects and structures. Check it out. It's coming up right after this. A constructed area. Now we don't have to all flip out about this. I mean, look, look, under the haze. You see the haze? They're in line, they're in unison. Many things, pipes, structures, tunnels, etc. Not everything's in unison. You see those lines that everyone hates that go by that people think are pixels. They're not. They're under a haze and they're structures. And we can clearly see them right now. A very good view, actually, of this. I'm going to have to go back to this area and region. This is, look at the corner here. I'll point to it there. Structures and elevated different levels right there. And to the right, the square box. And look here, white structure on white. Hard to depict the difference. You can even see a haze, guys, over top of this. That light gray material, I tend to think it's not necessarily a haze, but maybe some kind of a structure. It's very hard to catch on the surface and see, but you can see it here, bottom left, the haze over these structures. Very clear to see. It's not hard to see. More structures down here. It's pretty obvious to me. It should be obvious to all of you too that we're not looking at pixels, guys. These are nice clear shots that I have. Yes, zooming up, you will see the lines in my monitor. Like now, you just see a couple of swivels, but it's not pixels. You can see the structures. And if you do see some pixels, we'll leave them aside. We're not looking for pixels, we're looking for structures. Oh, boom. Plato crater, the surface ever so green, and look at that black spot behind that is filled with greenery and structures and objects and anomalies all around it. You can see in the back there is what NASA and everyone talks about, the transient lunar phenomenon. That light is right there, top center. But in reality, the entire moon is filled with those lights, except this light is elevated off the surface, very high off the surface, and we can clearly see it very well. Here, other blue structure here, a yellow structure. There's that light, the transient phenomenon in the back, which I am positive there is an installation or structure underneath. Here you can see the surface, entire surface, all the colors, the emanating colors, greens, and you see, when I say emanating, I mean the blues, etc. This can and most definitely is CO2 gas that is causing the colors. Look at the installations here with the light technique. Once again, this is still by Plato Crater. And you can just see the amazing outline and detail here again under Plato Crater, the structures, greenery on the surface. When we're looking at this in photography or astrophotography, we almost never see the color on the surface around Plato Crater. And also, guys, NASA even told us that the darn crater is flat, smooth surface. It's not. It's elevated. And look what's around it. Look at all the elevated levels, and the lights are depicting the structures and straight rims that were built, whether they be corridors or pathways, we can clearly see them. Here I shot so much light into this image so we can see even deeper inside of the levels. And you can see the depiction of the square platformed areas. I'm actually filming infrared on a large monitor. It has nothing to do with about filming a screen. Why would I film a screen when I can show the actual photo online? It's that what I'm doing with the technique and the way I'm shooting the light, the way I'm angled to the surface, I'm able to see the surface terrain. Now look at this pipe or structure or tunnel coming down in the southern highlands where I found this massive pipe or structure many months ago that I showed you all. For those that are wondering, and I often forget to mention the diameters of the craters, 59 kilometers as a diameter for at the end of the mountain range of Montes Apenninus, Eratosthenes is 59 kilometers in diameter. To give you an idea, it's a bit smaller than Tycho crater because Tycho crater is in its 80s, near 80 kilometers. Now look what we're seeing at the surface here. Look closely at all the very clear geometrical shapes. Look at the top here. Other structures. What looks like spherical white lights to us, the more we zoom in, become rectangular structures as we dim down the lights. It's also dimming down the light, not just adding light. Beautiful greenery here. Absolutely breathtaking. Plumes of smoke. They really are industrial plumes of smoke. Look at the surface structures. There's a reason why I'm filming the monitor. That doesn't matter. It's what I'm getting. Look at the tunnel structure in the center. Some people thank me and they say, "Oh, thanks, very, very nice photos." No, 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 I'm sorry, it's live footage. When it's live footage, guys, I've always, always indicated it. So why would I try stumping everyone by posting crappy photos online that you can see lines from my television on? There's a reason for it. We're seeing the structures on the surface. Now this is another structure that's emanating green and red. And when post-processed, well, here's the structure. You can also see it. I'll zoom by it, and that's it there. The structure there, but it's green and red emanating from it, again on the outer limits of the moon. Here are more structures on the surface. These, what looks like braille, very very, they're defined. They're well defined. They're high off the surface, and they're very visible. You can just clearly see them. This light process is helping me find many structures. Now look at the rim here. There are even certain lit areas over certain cities. Here again, a bit blurry structures. They just have to be clarified, more of them. But the other ones are clear. Look at the ones, all the clear ones. We're jumping, oh yeah, it's a block. It's a block. Yeah, it's a block on the surface of the moon, which is a building or an object. Channel contributors. I have a new one, but she's always been around commenting since the beginning. Teresa Bromigan, thank you, $30 donation. I love you, sister. That's great. I really appreciate it, and it's going to help us get to our goal. I'll have the campaign link up in the description for the fundraiser to get that big telescope to show it all to the world and have a free channel forever. Thanks everyone for the support. My technique of filming monitors is for a very particular reason. Filming a large 54-inch screen, getting extra detail in it at a certain angle with camera using infrared and high dynamic range has never been done before, and I'm doing it, getting a new technique.